Good morning, everyone. Yesterday was a beautiful day, first day of summer. For a little while, I looked up and said there's not a cloud in the sky, and then they started filling in a little bit, but not rain clouds, just afternoon clouds filling in to block the sun to keep it from getting to be too hot. It was 90-something yesterday, I forget now. We should have a lot hotter temperatures coming until it starts to rain again. I'm perfectly fine because I can stay inside if it gets too hot. I go out in the morning and do my chores or my exercise. Although I'm going to have to deal with my knee here before too long. Walking was becoming difficult yesterday. I've already had one knee replaced, so I know what to expect. But the VA got off target on me, and now I've got to go back in and restart it again. Okay, so what are we supposed to do? Be patient. So, today the topic is, God is patient. We're told all the time to be patient. To be patient with God, what He's doing. His timeline's not ours. We got to put up with waiting and not knowing when things are going to happen, but we have to trust. That's the faith involved. Don't like my head cut off. So, where do we look to find out how to be patient? God Himself. So today's topic is God is patient. So the concept of God being patient with humanity is a reoccurring theme throughout many religious documents, not just the Bible. God is patient. Now, the patience that He has with Christians is different than the patience that He has with the end of the world. So we're going to look at two examples of two different religions that teach patience. Surprisingly, the Quran has patience in there as an example, that it's good to be patient. So, slow to anger, that's one of my problems. That's one of my things that I have to hand over. I get angry. I can't watch the news a lot. When I see people hurting other people, it makes me angry. And I want to get in and start. And God says, calm down, kid. Relax. Hand it to me, because it's too big for you to deal with. I'm somewhat angry that Trump has not attacked Iran yet. He's pushing for peace. One of the Muslim countries has put his name in for a Nobel Peace Prize. Keeping in mind that Nobel invented dynamite. Alfred Nobel. Okay, so here's a couple of examples here. I'm not going to actually read the verses here. I've got some verses down below, so I'm just going to reference them. In 2 Peter 3:9, the Bible states that the Lord is not slow to fulfill His promise, as some count slowness. We just had this in a previous study. But is patient towards you, talking about mankind in general, not wishing that any should perish, but that all should reach repentance. God's patience is not a sign of inaction, but a demonstration of His desire. Even the Quran speaks of God's patience and mercy. I know I don't normally quote the Quran, but it's a copycat. It's the devil's copycat religion of Christianity, so it should have some of the common things in it. It's one of the reasons that it spreads. It's like, why is it taking over the world? Well, one, this is Satan's domain, and this is his religion. You've got to understand that to understand how this conflict is still going on. Why is it still going on? Why have they been fighting from the beginning? Even before Israel was a nation, the Arabs were fighting amongst themselves because they've got two major factions that don't agree on how to do things. They sort of agree on the outcome, but not how to do it. So anyhow, and to quote a verse out of the Quran, Al-Baqarah, 2.153. I have no idea how that works out. I'm merely reading off of what I copied off of the internet. Emphasizes that Allah is with those who are patient, according to Islam Online. This verse encourages believers to seek help through patience and prayer, knowing that Allah is with them in their struggles. Okay, so you've got to know the enemy. You can't fight somebody if you don't understand their motives. So I'm bringing some of this. I'm going to do a little bit more, bringing some of the Quran in. Not that you need to learn it, not that you need to convert. Christians have it right. Islam is Satan's copycat religion of Christianity. Jesus is in the Quran. They're waiting for him. So are the Jews. That's why when the Antichrist shows up, he will be welcomed open arms from both of them. So, looking back now at God's patience as a model, let's turn, well, I'm not going to turn to, I'm just going to read the summary here. I just wrote a summary as opposed to reading the verses, but I'm going to give you the verse so you can go look at it, because we've covered a lot of these recently. Matthew 18:21 through 35. Jesus tells a parable. Remember, the parable's for those people who want to know and are seeking God, not for the rest of the world, because they don't care, they won't understand it. The Spirit explains things, and you only get the access to the Spirit by seeking God or by being a Christian. It's a parable about a servant who was forgiven a large debt by his master, but then refuses to forgive a smaller debt from a fellow servant. This parable highlights the importance of extending the same patience and forgiveness that God shows us to others. We're judged by the way we judge. We're treated by the way we treated. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. The Lord's Prayer. Now, God's patience is limited with the world. With us, Jesus has already given us everything that we need on earth, or made it available to us. Whether we take advantage of it or not, like in the last video, that's up to us. So anyhow, patience is, God will be done with the world shortly. 2 Peter 3:10 states that the day of the Lord will come and the heavens will be destroyed by fire. This suggests that God's patience will eventually come to an end with mankind. God's patience is an essential theme. His desire for salvation is great, and his patience is great. He knows who's going to accept Christ and who isn't. It's not predestination. That's just God knowing everything. And he will wait for the last person. The gospel has to be preached throughout the world as a symbol of having to be preached throughout the world, but trying to get the last person to accept Christ. When that's done, we're done. So you want to help? Help spread the word. Okay, so now I'm going to read some verses here about patience. Galatians 6:9. And let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Again, a lot of these verses are ones I've just recently covered, but themes overlap. Romans 8:25. But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. Trusting God. Trusting God, knowing that his will for us is greater than anything we could imagine. Ephesians 4:2. With all humility and gentleness, with patience bearing one another in love. We're to bear one another's burdens. Christians are to bear one another's burdens. If you've got a problem, share it with a trustworthy Christian. The Catholics have gone too far where you've got to share it with a priest in order to be forgiven, and you don't need an intercessory to Jesus. Jesus is all you need. All you need. All right. I can't see how long I've been talking. I'm trying to keep my videos short because I know everybody is short on time. I've done longer videos, plenty of them, and it seems like when I go back and look at how long people watch them, they only watch 10 or 15 minutes out of a 30-minute video. I understand time is short, and sometimes I ramble a lot. I am not going to be, nor ever will want to be, a polished preacher, standing up at a pulpit in front of now I never say never, but I don't have any personal desire to want to do that. I love having these informal chats, which is what I consider this to be, where we just get together and talk. No preconditions, no pomp and circumstance. I'm in a t-shirt, in a trailer, in a park, and I love that. I could go outside. I guess I could have gone outside today. I got to be careful going outside for two things. One, it's rained every day for the past 3 months, except for the last 2 days. Yesterday was nice, and today seems nice. I'm just not in the habit of it. I do things out of habit. So I'll try to get outside more and do my videos. And also, if it's too noisy, if the wind's blowing, it messes up my microphone. So I've got a microphone that reduces a lot of it, but you can still hear it. So I'm going to try to get outside more. I'd like to try to do more walks, but I got to be careful with my knee. Pray for me on my knee. God either needs to heal it, or I need to get in and get it replaced like my other knee. Oh God, make my hand like my other one. God has a sense of humor, so be careful. But I got to make my one knee like my other one. My right knee I've had a partial knee replacement, and it feels great. I can walk on it, doesn't hurt, doesn't fail. But my left knee is starting to cause great pain if I step wrong. It's bone to bone, and it's been that way for a few years because the cartilage is gone. So anyhow, God will take care of it in His time. If we're still here, we keep every year for the past 7.5 years, we've been anticipating God's return. We're in the Bible because the Revelation 12 sign happened 7 years ago. God always gives people a warning, and I consider that a warning, a sign in the sky. All our calculators that are based on the current understanding of the timeline puts the rapture this year. But I specify that our understanding of the timeline. They've been wrong on the timeline so many times. Oh, we didn't remember to include this. Oh, we forgot the Shemitah years. Oh, we calculated from the wrong point. This has been going on for years. They've been trying to figure it out. Once we get the timeline started, this is the crux of the thing. Once it's started, we know when things are going to happen relatively. It's just a 7-year period, and it may not go a full 7 years. We don't know when it starts. We're not supposed to know. We're in the church or Gentile age, and after that, we switch back to the 70th week of Daniel, which the word is heptad, which means it's actually 7 years. We won't be here. Somebody posted on my page yesterday that the temple has to be built before the rapture. Nope, because you know who's going to get the temple built? The Antichrist. And we have to be out of here before the Antichrist. So we don't wait for the temple. And they're ready. They could build it. They could start building it tomorrow if we'd get a peace plan. Gee, if someone would come forward with a 7-year peace plan, the Antichrist. That's how they're going to get the temple built. Yesterday, in their fighting, Iran launched a missile that hit a mosque and hurt the imams inside. They're not very accurate. It isn't one that we shot down. They hit it. Because a lot of these are bottle rockets. They just know how far they're going to go, and they have no control over them once they put them in the air. They probably have maybe 500 rockets left from all the experts. But they're losing their launchers daily. Every time they launch, we take out a launcher. So if they launch 10 or 20 rockets a day, they're down to a terrorist mode. They're not down to a we're going to destroy Israel mode, not with their standard ballistic missiles. 1 out of 30 gets through, does some damage. They can't put a nuke in something like that until they know it can get in. So they would probably save the nuke for one of the other ones. I'm pretty sure they have enough nuclear grade material to make a bomb. It is not that impossible. We created one during World War II fairly quickly. So the idea that we're just going to keep being patient and patient and patient, they're going to have a bomb. I think I'll talk on the next video about the possibility of them using a bomb, a nuclear bomb. Believe me, their underground stuff that they've got, their labs and everything that Israel can't get to very well, they're building a bomb, I guarantee it. Now, they may be hurting because they killed off many of their scientists, but they're building one. We'll talk about that in the next video, Lord willing. Until then, till we meet in the clouds, God bless.